Namaste, beloveds. This is Mother with Wisdom. And hold on just a second. Okay, beloveds. It is storming here in Wisconsin. It's been raining. The floodwaters are flooding the streets. My niece even shot a photo of her and her husband out in the street on a what are those donut rafty things? I forget what they're called, the floaties. And her dog Charlie is just taking off playing in the water, and the water is about up to mid calves, and this is in the street of her, of her mother's house. So a lot of rain has fallen. Um, with this Lionsgate portal. And for me, it's really about just opening up the floodgates of heaven. And there's such a purifying, there's such a improvement. There's like a washing of the negativity out of the old frequencies, so that they're less, they're real low. You can barely feel them. You can still feel them, but not as much as before. At least that's how I'm experiencing it. And I was going to do this video a couple of days ago, and a friend called and we got into a conversation, and the energy was no longer present. But I wrote everything. I had written everything before he called. And so I'm going to get into that. But today, and this is August the 8th, so this is the actual Lionsgate frequency, full force, so to speak. And I am just, I wrote it on Facebook. It's like you're this child and you have been waiting for months for the summer carnival to come to your town. And tomorrow it's coming, or today it's here. And you wake up and it just so happens that everything is aligned in your favor. And you get the little bracelet or the little stamp or all the tickets for unlimited rides, unlimited food, unlimited games. Everything is just yours. It's just like, here, it's yours. There's no one there to say, you got to get on this ride first, you got to do this first, no, it's yours. You turned loose in the whole carnival. And you're safe. You don't have to worry about anything. All you got to worry about is being present and enjoying every second, every moment, and just feeling it all. Not just yours, but all the excitement that's happening. And that is what it's like. Today, that's what this energy feels like for me. And like I said, it's overwhelming. And so many, not overwhelming to the point where you can't function, but it's just like, damn, I haven't felt this since I was that child waking up, and it's time to go to the carnival, and you finna just get your stuff and you're going to be let loose and you can just go. And yes, you're going to have to stand in lines, and there's other people, you look at them and you feel them. Everybody feels the same way you do. We're finna have fun. We're finna enjoy. We're finna just be in this moment. We're finna ride. We're finna win these games and these big stuffed animals, and there's all this hope, and there's all this joy, and there's just so much. And all the other little undercurrents that are usually so loud, they're real low. They're like a little murmur frequency, a little whisper that you can barely hear or feel anymore. Everything else is just like, yes, 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 yes. And you're like, ooh, I want that. I want some of this. And I don't care how long this line is. Everybody else is standing in line, but I'm finna ride this. I'm finna get on this, and it's gonna be so much fun. And I don't care if I throw up. I don't care who I have to sit with. I don't care. I'm riding. I'm finna go. I'm finna get on this. I'm finna just what? Just exist in the moment. And we have gotten, whew, and look, I say we, but I'm really speaking to me because Mama has been, like I say, just parting the Red Sea with me. Like, okay, come on, it's parted. Let's go. You got no more excuses. You got no more this. You got no more that. We ain't playing with this and that. I done parted the Red Sea. Let's go. And it's like, okay, baby steps. Yeah, you did the baby steps. You can walk a little faster than that. Come on. And so, like I said, it's just so deep. It's just so awesome for me right now. And this Lionsgate is really powerful for me because there's a part of me that has re-emerged, that has reawakened, that has presented her voice and her frequency and her energy back within me. It's like she's come back to sit on the throne, and she's like, the queen bitch is home. Bow down. And so the other aspects of me are in a tizzy because they're like, oh fuck, oh shit, what? We didn't 20 something, 30 something years, we didn't been without that, and now here it is. What? And this part of me that's sitting on this throne is so much more mature. She is so much more patient. She just has, she's observed, she's learned. And like I said, this is for me the whole Mama Inanna descent and ascent frequencies. This is the manifestation. This is the conscious awareness of the journey and everything that has taken place. And understanding, just as I was stripped of each of my powers or my garments at the gates of the lower underworld, I have received each one back because I'm going upwards now. And so the power is restored. And that power is the divine femininity for me. Understanding that I've shared a lot of my sexual assault, my molestation, my rape history, my abuse history, a lot of my relationships. I've had a couple of relationships where I thought I was choosing this person for one thing and it just didn't work. And so I stopped trusting my ability to choose a partner. And I just shut so many doors to the mansion, to the home, to the temple, And when feelings came up, I would stuff them in there like it was an overflowing closet of a hoarder and slam that door. Don't look in there no more. Just, that part is filled. Okay, we going going up to the next room. We'll fill that up, and we'll see how this goes. And so it's been this journey, and I've been sharing this journey for over 20 something years, and I've had a lot of interactions with master teachers who were there to interact with me in a way that helped me to get to this frequency. And I am grateful. It has not always been peaches and cream. It has not always been strawberry shortcake. You know, it has not all been banana pudding, so to speak. But you take what you get and you appreciate it. Because as my mama said, some didn't even get that. So we have had serious struggle. We have had tremendous trauma and tragedy befall us. Knock us down. Knock us the fuck out. But grace and unconditional love showed us how to stand back up. It showed us how to crawl. It showed us how to have the will to move. To be able to receive frequencies. To be able to know when it's time to pray. And when it's time to open yourself up. When it's time to humble yourself. When it's time to grab a hold of something and not let go. And when it's time to let go and back up. All of this takes practice. It takes living. It takes existing in the moment fully. Because you're not going to get the lesson if you're numb. You're not going to get the whole lesson that your whole self needs if you're only in your mind. Or if you're only in your feelings. Or if you shut everything off and you're only in your spirit. But you have no connection to the collective. You've got to be whole to be holy. And you've got to recognize each of these essences, each of these bodies, and align them and bring them into balance. And that's where, like I said, this child at the carnival, waking up and just all of this excitement for infinite possibilities. That is what you are excited for infinite possibilities taking place on your behalf. It is a connection to that frequency. That is truly where we want to be. That is truly, I sit here today and, you know, like I said, that this energy is coming up and I'm like, oh, and I had a realization today that rocked me to my core. You know, when this voice deep within just spoke and had this conversation with me, and I couldn't deny what she said. And what she said was, you know you shouldn't be alone today. You know you should be with a man. You know you should be making love. You know you should be expressing all of this. You know you should be making love. You should be loving. You should be giving. You should be receiving. You should be transmitting. You should be transmuting. You should be weaving and just rocking the boat. You know, you should, the motion in the ocean and all of this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, damn. And then the other little voice came and it's like, well, patience. She needed to get here. And now that you're here, everything is in order. There's no rush. Enjoy where you are. Don't go rushing into something. Let it take place the way it's supposed to. It's a process, Valerie. Let the process be what it is. In other words, as my mama used to tell me when we had storms, sit down, turn off everything. God's doing His work. You respect God when God's doing this. You sit down and you be still. You don't have no television going. You don't have no radio going. You don't even have no lights on in your house, okay? You sit down and it could be 100 degrees. You don't have no fan. You sit down and you be still. And you be quiet within yourself. That's meditating. That's grounding and centering. And this was the elders' way of saying, be one with this. And understand that this force that's happening out there, oh, that's everything, baby. You respect that. And that is what rules the world. Not you and your worries, not you and your concerns, not you and your thoughts, not you and your feelings. It's a natural process that's been in place for since the existence began as we understand it, and we are beginning to understand it. All of this storms, whether they're cosmic storms, whether they're galactic storms, whether they're storms on the planet, whether they're tsunamis, whether they're volcanoes, whatever is going on, that is nature putting things in order. Nothing is coincidental. The earth is alive, and she is growing, she is moving, she is shifting, she is evolving. Her frequencies are getting higher, and those that are more in tune are also filling up with this Aquarius conscious awareness that's present at the moment. Excuse me for fidgeting. And it's, like I said, it's carnival for me. That's what it really feels like. And I am very excited because, like I said, infinite possibilities. I'm no longer trying to sit and map out each thing that I need to happen, that I want to see. I'm saying, Mama, you know how you say Jesus take the wheel? Jesus taking the wheel of this vehicle, this vessel. Valerie ain't driving. No. I am no longer saying make a right over here and turn left over here and the GPS say go this way. God got this. Existence got this. Valerie don't need to add her 2 cents to this. Okay? Matter of fact, every time Valerie tried to put her 2 cents into something, it wind up costing me so much more than 2 cents. So I'm matured. And I've learned, just hold on to your 2 cents. Just hold on to it. Because there may come a time when you need it, or you can give it away to somebody else who needs it. But you quit throwing it in every time, the wind blow. Oh, the wind blow. Here go my 2 cents. So, like I said, I'm letting Jesus take the wheel on this. Because I'm just at the carnival. And I'm being spirit led. Oh, go on this ride, okay? And just stand in line for however long it takes. Get on the ride, buckle yourself in, and enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. And when it's time to get off, excuse me, when it's time to get off, just get off, go stand in the next line or wherever you feel motivated to go. You got all day and all night, and you can get on everything. And you there by yourself, but you start seeing people you know, and you ride together, and you he-he-heing and giggling, and you see people you don't like, and all of this, and sometimes you're in the line and you have to ride the ride with them, and it's, well, I don't care, I'm riding, so. And like I said, it's just a very, very beautiful feeling when you just know how to let it be. You know that song, Let It Be, Let It Be? just to let it be. And that's to allow. That's to allow, quote unquote, Jesus to take the wheel. Some of us, we ain't giving that wheel to Jesus no matter what. You know? It can be a hurricane, no, ice storm, whatever. Nah, and Jesus, I can drive it better than you. I'd rather trust me than trust you with this wheel right now, because yeah, I got to stay in control. You know, I can't. You good, but you might. I got to handle this, and that's just where some of us are stuck. And I've been there. I've been so stuck and so full of righteous judgment, righteous knowledge, righteous stubbornness. Okay, that no, I ain't giving you this. And Spirit sit up here and tell you, go over here, Valerie. And no, I ain't going that way today. I'm gonna do this today, and you go your way and fall in the hole. Okay, and alligators chasing you, and crocodiles, and you running this way, and beehives chase it, chaos. Why? Because you didn't listen to that one little quiet voice to say, "Go this way, Valerie." You said, "No, I don't want to go that way. That way don't. That I ain't feeling that way. I'm going over here because I ain't listening to you. I'm listening to me, and listening to me get you toe up from the flow up. You get to suffering. You get bit up, ate up, scarred up, brokenhearted, and everything, and you be like, oh, damn. Why? Why, God? Why me? Why? I told you to go that way. You didn't listen. Okay. And after having so many of these, as many as you need, you began to understand that this is a higher consciousness trying to guide you, making you more aware of how to exist and how to move and how to be. And when you allow that voice, that frequency, that vibration, that spectrum, that direction to guide you, oh, things blow your mind. Things actually just blow your mind. The synchronicity, the way it works out, the abundance that's there, the knowledge that you gain, the things that you feel, what you see, what you hear. It just blows your mind, and it's really supernatural, you know. And after so many of those kind of experiences, you began to trust that which is guiding you, which is calling you, which is speaking to you. And you begin to discern between its voice, its fragrance, its posture, its presence, its existence, versus the other that said, "No, we don't feel like doing it. Nah, we gonna do it like, oh, they did this. Oh, we gonna do this. Then we need to do that, and you need to plan it like this, and you need to do, and you need, and you need, and you learn the difference, and that's a balance, and you learn which one really has the best advice for you to not survive, but to exist. Because one thing might help you to survive, but your existence goes down to the basement. But you survived. But you had to do X, Y, Z to do it. Whereas this, you may have gotten knocked down. You may have had to tell the truth. You may have had something happen that was unpleasant. You may have had something that happened that was traumatic. But afterwards, you get raised up. And everything that you thought you lost or missed out on is heaped on you even more. That's the story of Job, beloveds. There's, like I said, there's so much in this Lionsgate energy. And a lot of it has to do with divine femininity and divine masculinity. Learning how to acknowledge each other once again as equals, as partners, as reflections. And to begin to explore and recreate the dynamics of the exchange frequency. Because we've been on a plane or an age or dimension or whatever you want to call it, where that exchange has been so filled with static, white noise, disconnection. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear? It's not there. It's not free flowing. But we're entering this Aquarian age and we're being refilled and everything is about to get real fluid. And all you have to do is allow. Be open. Don't rush. Don't try to control it. Don't try to see the future of it. Just know that it's carnival time and you're here and it's unlimited and infinite possibilities can happen. Be discerning. Be wise. Be open. Be fully present. Be excited. Be grateful. Be grateful for what's here right now in this moment. Because you know the carnival ain't gonna last forever. It's a temporary state of happiness. But it's here right now. And you've got it. And then it's gonna move on to other people so they can have it. So don't be so greedy for it. Understand that everybody needs this carnival. And today is your turn. And that as you are here and present and enjoying it, when it goes, In order to get your unlimited status again, you have to keep everything fluid. You have to be present. You have to practice on when the carnival is here. You have to keep your state in this infinite possibilities frame of being, presence. And you have to enjoy. And you have to be discerning. Always be vigilant, beloveds, because lessons and tests are there in each simulated hologram, so to speak. You are a warrior. You are a healer. You are a hero, and you are a villain. You are a child, and you are God. No matter the spectrum, no matter the frequency, no matter the vibration, no matter the color, no matter the shape, no matter the galaxy, no matter existence exists. Understand that divine order is already in motion. Things have been prophesied. Things have been foretold. Aeons, ages, worlds, epochs ago. And each of those things bear fruit. They bear the fruit of what was said, because that was put in that was put in place by wisdom when she designed existence. And when you are immortal, when you are eternal, you understand that time is an illusion. And the weaving and the sewing of that web by using linear time and weaving and going through light years and so forth and so on, you've already put everything in place. And it's just playing out. Wisdom is the divine designer of existence, not you, not me. I am an aspect of that. I am. I am not the whole of that, although I have access to it as I mature more and more, which means as I empty myself out more, my identity with this incarnation, my identity with the laws of man versus universal laws, it everything becomes much more clear, beloved. That's what I wanted to share about that, because like I said, that's been so powerful to just wake up with that And to know that um, with this year, 2021, when you hold it up against 2020, and you use the words here and now and there and then to kind of look at the polarities, so much has happened. So much has changed. So much is changing in so many directions. This is the infinite possibilities of wisdom fulfilling her order of how things are going to be and how they're going to get there. And understand that if you exist in this moment, you're playing a part in that was assigned to you by her, based upon how you would respond to your own quote unquote training, grooming, holographic experience, matrix system, awakening, conscious awareness of yourself. So don't worry about so and so and so and so and so and so, even if they came through you. And when I say they came through you, even if you gave birth to them, even if they're your family members, each is here to play their own role. And again, if you need further confirmation of what I'm saying or further instruction or ways to look at this, again, go to the book of Job. Look at some more scriptures from around the world. Look at more teachings. Look at more morals. Look at more spiritual wisdom of the sages and the ages, from the teachers, from the leaders. Even those, you know how they say, even a broke clock tells the time right twice a day. So you have leaders that weren't very good leaders. So they was broke and they did what they did. So if you flip that, you have the lesson of the polarity of what they did. So the lesson is still there for you to learn from. You just have to put it in perspective. And when it comes to putting things in perspective, that means you have to be empty of judgment, self-judgment, judgment of others, judgment of worthiness, judgment of intelligence. Because you're not going to see something if you have all those blinders, all those blind spots, all those blockages. You're going to be very limited in your scope of perspection and perception. And when you understand that wisdom sees everything, you know how as children we would hear or we would say that our mothers had eyes in the back of their heads because they were so wise. They could see things before it happened. They knew when you were lying. It's because they was empty and they felt you. And they knew that you were filled with infinite possibilities. And they knew which way you would lean most of the time. because they observed you observing them. And you have to remember that as infants, we learned everything: how to speak, how to walk, how to talk, how to eat, by observing, by not listening to, oh, you do it like this, you do it like that, and then standing up and like falling on your butt and be like, well, damn, my son, that's how they did it. Why I can't do it? You get to the point where you keep getting encouraged and you build up those muscles and you keep trying until you get it, until you're toddling, until you're walking, until you're running. And then you don't go back to remembering how you were watching. You're no longer watching that because you know it. You got it. You're doing it. But we're not aware of the observation that is taking place, that needs to take place in each and every situation that we encounter. We have to get back to that level of observation, of allowing that kind of observation. Just like before you could get married in biblical days, you had to go through an extended engagement process where you went and lived with that person's family. And you got to know that person, not sexually, but intimately. By what? By observing. You got to know that family by observing. You got to know yourself and your place in that family or that clan or that tribe by observing everything that happens and how it happened, the order of things. And you knew how to have patience with this one. You knew how to encourage that one. And you knew how to put on a firm, stern voice with this one because they was going to try you. That all comes from observation. That all comes from the patience of being, of existing, of allowing wisdom to guide you. Not with rushing in, not with this microwave, instant gratification, gotta have it right now. You gotta sit and let that storm take place. Let it do what it's gonna do. Let it rebuild, let it destroy. Whatever it's gonna do, that's God's work. You let God do his work. Don't you think you know more than God? God out there doing his work. Sit down, be quiet. I learned as a child to sit with my own thoughts and my own feelings and to observe them and to observe other people's thoughts and feelings and to observe just all the frequencies individually and collectively. And that is what has me here, speaking as Mother with Wisdom for over 10-something years. And it has not, like I said, been all roses. But when you are spirit-led, you know that even when you feel like you're still, your car is still, your Merkaba is still, your vessel is still, there's movement. And sometimes that movement is even chaos. But you're not in the chaos. You're in the car. You're in the vessel. You're in the temple. And all of that is outside. But your temple is built well enough that it can withstand all of that. And you know that is only going to be for a certain amount of time. You allow existence to exist because what is taking place, even though it may seem like chaos to you, is part of the plan. It's part of the process of the breaking down and the building up. The making of bricks, so to speak. I am going to get to the point that had me ready to do a video in the first place. I have talked long enough, and so I'm just going to get into it, beloveds. And like I said, this Lionsgate energy is just so beautiful to me right now, and I am really enjoying it. And I am thankful for all the awareness that is echoing in my conscious awareness right now. And I'm so thankful and grateful for being able to recognize the journey itself, recognize existing in the journey, being able to observe the journey from one aspect, being able to experience the journey from another aspect, and being the journey itself on a completely other aspect. So let me share with you what has been going on with me, and really, from what I'm understanding, a lot of the Lionsgate energy that is happening with everyone is about the reflecting on our lives from this point backwards in order to see the infinite possibilities that were present always, no matter what. As I said before, I'm in therapy right now, and the what is it? Describe your defining moments. That understanding the false self, shame, and the real self, or the authentic self. And shame prevents me from being. What would I be feeling if I were not feeling shame? And if it's not shame for you, it could be guilt. It could be low self-esteem. It could be anger. It could be a billion other adjectives for feelings, for thoughts. But in defining them and going through this step-by-step process, it's, like I said, it's really awakening a lot in me. And so I titled this Accepting Your Divinity by the Power of Observation. And this is Lionsgate 88, Accepting Your Divinity by the Power of Observation. And I'm just going to read what I wrote, beloveds. Namaste, beloveds. This Lionsgate frequency is such a powerful healing frequency. Let me begin to explain the title of this video, Accepting Your Divinity by the Power of Observation. Knowing thyself is the greatest set of instructions ever given. I am that I am is the greatest answer ever given. Existence is the greatest example of how that works from the position of the observer. I'm going to say that again. 1, knowing thyself is the greatest set of instructions ever given. 2, I am that I am is the greatest answer to those instructions ever given, or outcome of those instructions ever given. Existence is the greatest example of how that works. So once you know yourself, and once you recognize and identify yourself as I am that I am and nothing else, then your existence becomes how knowing yourself as I am that I am works. And all of this takes place from the position of observation, of knowing. And if you really break that down, if you don't know yourself as existence itself, then whatever you're observing is a lie. It's false. It's immature. It's unevolved. It's not the truth. It's not the whole truth. But you have some people who will say, well, half a truth or half a lie is better than a flat out lie. Wisdom. When you could have, you weigh it out, the carnival situation. Well, you can be at the carnival and you can only get on half the rides, you can't play none of the games, and you got to pay for all your meals, but you can get water for free. And you can't stay there all day. Or you can have the unlimited version. Which way would you choose to exist? Observe. Let me set this up for you, beloveds. A spiritual rebirthing happened for me when Spirit gave me the name MUTHA WIT WISDOM some 10 to 11 years ago. I began a blog talk radio show. I began several pages on Facebook, a main page, a sacred sexuality page, and a big girl page. My whole life before this had prepared me for everything and everyone, that I would encounter. It's a hair. That I would encounter. Oh, this hair. Okay, that. Excuse me. My whole life before had prepared me for everything and everyone I would encounter on this spiritual journey, quest to know myself, to be able to observe myself from a spiritual perspective rather than a mental, mortal view. At this time, I was seeing a therapist for my life's many trials and battles with self-identity, self-acceptance, and self-love due to abuse, mental, emotional, physical, sexual, spiritual, all while trying to be strong enough to maintain and hold my shit together as a single mother of 2. I learned many things about myself spiritually, psychologically, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I was given the ability to recognize patterns of certain frequencies within my life that appeared in cycles and seasons on a repeated loop. Different location, different people, same dysfunction. It is just recently, as you can see by the videos, that things have began to become crystal clear to me as I began to observe them from my third eye instead of my physical mind, which at this point only speaks and recognizes and organizes dysfunction, chaos, and drama, not maliciously, as I once thought, by calling it the sadistic mind and the masochistic self-identity. Funny how we always need to identify an other as a villain or enemy in our existence in order to resolve our own issues and lessons. And that was deep for me, beloveds, because instead of looking at my mind as a tool, as a friend, I immediately, sadistic, masochistic, just it became a villain immediately. And that's because the polarity. That's because the opposites are there. Laws of the universe. If it's an opposite, we are at a point where we feel we have to attack because we are still in survival mode. That way of seeing, observing, knowing, thinking, feeling is so ingrained in us. It has to be uprooted because it is choking the truth. It is choking the true ability to see and to be. And if all you think about is surviving, then that means all you feel is fear. Danger is real. I'm not saying existence exists, beloveds. But when you begin to observe, all, begin to incorporate all, begin to be led by your spirit, not just your senses, but your instincts as well. And learn to listen to your spiritual instinct above all else. And that, for most of us, is the problem. We want to drive that car. It's only when we spinning out of control to Jesus, take the wheel. But before that, Jesus, I'm driving. I'm good. I got this. You be you. Don't do what you do. I got this. Instead of saying, you know what, Jesus, put it on cruise control. I'm just gonna let you do your thing, and I'm gonna sit over here while you do it. I'm gonna be still. We have to get there. No one taught us that. You can't do what you don't know. That baby observes people walking all around it, talking, doing things that it can't do yet. And so it's just observing until it can. But it's storing all of that information. It's taking notes. Sometimes children don't speak. And then when they're ready, they be speaking whole sentences, and you be like, you had that in there all the time. You could say that all the time, and you ain't. Wasn't until that child was ready. Let me keep going, beloveds. I was given a visualization that I shared that has become a saving grace of sacred space for me. I shared it as well as reading some cards and having the grandmother card, Moon, in regular deck, but grandmother in the medicine woman tarot, speak to me and teach of the mind not being my enemy, but a womb, a void, a vortex, a dimension that you must be reborn from, grow out of, escape. And that just blew me away. That is what rebirth is. It's incarnating and growing into this identity that you're given. And then it's being born into another identity, one of conscious awareness, of I am that I am, beyond a name, beyond a sex, gender, beyond a color, beyond a culture, beyond the economic status, beyond a class. This is when you are truly individual and also part of the collective. And you begin to observe things in a much more efficient way. And you're more calm because you're more mature. Your no longer is your every thought about surviving the next second into the next minute, where you have to control what happens or you have to make it happen the way you want. You understand that wisdom has already divined and designed existence, and that you are just a cog in it. You are just a little screw. You're just a little nut and bolt in the whole process. And self-care is what you need to do to maintain your position. The Medicine Woman Grandmother Moon card. And beloveds, that was a video several, I'd say 3 or 4 videos ago. The visualization was, I think, coming out of the Aquarius full moon. But baby, like I said, from that point to this, whoo, carnival, okay? Speak to me and teach of the mind not being my enemy, but a womb, a void, a vortex, dimension that you must be reborn from, grow out of, escape. Living in your mind, your incarnated human identity that is a false fiction identity given to you by the second womb matrix, third dimension identification observation method, which is an obstacle course for your spiritual self to navigate in order to build spirit muscle mass of endurance in all humbleness in accepting your divinity. And again, beloveds, the title of this video is about accepting your divinity by the power of observation. And that is what the Aquarian age is allowing us. It's refilling and refining, cleaning the lens of our observation abilities, our spiritual observation abilities. Okay, now that I have set the so-called stage with introduction to the observation, let me step back just a little bit. Living in your mind, your incarnated human identity, that which you were born into, that which was given to you by your parents, by society, by others, and then by yourself, because you've been conditioned and you accept the conditioning and programming. Okay? This is a rebirth. This is the third dimension. You're in the womb matrix. That's the third dimension. Now, from this third dimension, and you've been in identification move of what you think the world is, what you think you are, what you think existence is, you have to be reborn again from that stage. And in order to do that, there are many obstacle courses that you have to navigate through in order to build up the spirit muscle, in order to make room in your conscious awareness, empty it so that now you can observe, not from that third dimension place, not from the incarnated place, not from the place before the incarnation, but from all of these different stages that you have been through, all of these rebirth stages that you have been to, and now you're at one where you have gained spiritual muscle where you can stand up and say, who are you? And you're going to, I am that I am. I am existence. You're not going to say, well, I'm Valerie Ames. I'm Mother with Wisdom. Well, I used to be Inanna, and I used to be Isis long ago, and I used to do this, and I used to do that, and I killed thousands, and I raised this, and I did that, and I healed this, and do you know they burned me at the stake as a witch I don't know how many times, and blah, 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 blah. You're empty. I am that I am. I am existence. I am everything. And I am nothing. I am everything that has taken place. And I am the possibilities of all that will and that can. Big difference. And you understand that there are stages, and not everybody is at the same stage in their rebirthing process. And you must have compassion for them, just as you can look back and understand that compassion was allowed to you to get to where you are now. Somebody cleaned your little stinky diaper. Okay, somebody bathed you up. Somebody dusted you off and kissed your boo-boo when you fell down and hurt yourself. And so stop judging those who are falling down. Stop judging those who are trying to kill you. Stop taking it personal, because it's not. They don't even know themselves. How can they understand I am that I am? They're not there yet. They can't perceive it yet. They can't receive it yet. So all you can do is say, look, little baby, go sit your ass down somewhere. Or, okay, I see you having your tantrum. Okay, I'm going to let you, you're going to give your time out and I'm going to go over here. Or you look at them and you say, God is doing his work. Let me be still. I ain't got to try to drive that. I ain't got to try to steer that. I ain't got to try to move that over here. I ain't got to try to warn it. God doing his work. Oh, they didn't hit rock bottom. God doing his work. Empathy, compassion. I love you. I see you. We all got to go through this in order to grow, in order to know. Can't nobody give this kind of wisdom, knowledge to us. It has to be obtained because there's a divine process. You have to accept your divinity. And the only way you're going to accept your divinity is understand that you are not this other. You are not this broken piece of flesh. But look what this flesh went through. That's what you are, the will. And it's not to survive. It's to thrive. It's to exist. Okay. Now that I have set the so-called stage with introduction to the observation of my story, let me begin with where I am currently, but what I am being taught and able to observe from a much more expanded state of conscious awareness. Wanting to become a spiritual life coach, needing to teach, show, and instruct upon the foundation of spiritual rebirthing for the past 11 years. Okay? This whole rebirthing thing was given to me over 11 years ago. And from that time to this, I have been able to observe myself trying to make it happen, trying to force it to happen, feeling that I'm fighting others to make it happen, feeling that others are coming and stealing my ideas, my identity, my process, calling it theirs, and having that affect me in some way. And then being able to be still. The storm is going on. Let God do his work. And you observing, okay. You observing You know, the Wicked Witch flying around on her bicycle, yelling, "I'm gonna get you, Dorothy!" Or, you observing the flying monkeys. You observing all of this. You God doing this work. That's a tornado out. I see everything flying around. I ain't going out there. I ain't moving. God is showing me something. I'm gonna sit right here and look. I'm gonna observe. The process is observation. I'm sitting on my throne observing. I'm in my temple observing. Existence exists in the order that it is designed to exist. Again, like I said, we think we know things. We don't know diddly. You're not driving. The destination has already been foretold. The process and the outcome already been seen. You're like a little wind-up thing that's been placed as a cog. In each cycle, you may be something else so that you can make the whole hologram, the whole machine, the whole idea, the whole desire, the whole conscious awareness work. All of us are living, moving pieces. And each of us is needed to make the puzzle complete, or to make the device move, so to speak. Wanting to become a spiritual life coach, needing to teach, show, and instruct upon the foundation of spiritual rebirthing that was placed in me. And I've been scrambling to give birth to it for these past 10 or 11 years. I've been pregnant with this. And even now, like I said, I'm in therapy, and this is the reason I'm in therapy, because I still don't know how to give birth to it. Every time it comes time for me to give birth to it, I just received a scholarship. Here you go, Valerie, full scholarship. All you got to do, it's an 8-week program. You could be certified to do what you want to do, the way you want to do it. You get to design it, how you want to do it. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And everything that I've observed, all the knowledge is there. I've been helping people since I was a child. None of what is required of me for this, to get the certificate, is beyond me. I've already done it. I've already written about it. I've already put it into practice. But here I am, still unable to birth that last little part of it and put it in motion. And I'm done fighting with that, because, like I said, this is wisdom's design. This is God's design. And when Valerie has finished being placed in the fire and is ready to be taken out and put into her place as a new upgraded whatever, cog, wheel, womb, I will be. And I need to be okay with that. And I'm understanding that I needed to get here. And I needed to be able to observe myself getting here. And like I said, this next phase, I'm not going to be alone in this, so it's not something that I'm going to do. I'm going to be joined by a divine masculine. And it is up to the two of us to give birth. I'm not doing this by myself. And that's what this whole thing has been about. Like I said, this Lion's Gate is deep. It is deep. It is deep. Let me keep going. When wanting to become a spiritual life coach, needing to teach, show, and instruct upon the foundation of spiritual rebirthing for the last 11 years, 11 being its own gate as a number, having started, excuse me, I'm picking with his hair. Okay. Being its own gate as a number, having started and stopped, described, talked, outlined what I want to share, only to not be able to follow it through and see the seeds I threw taking root and growing all around me, producing their own fruits from the trees of those who were able to tend and present them as accomplishments, unlike me, who is still waiting on the right conditions, which I call and have named a website and this and that and that and this, and this unknown frequency calling that beckons to me in a language that I still don't quite know how to interpret or speak yet. But I keep listening and observing, knowing that it is the only way for me to finally understand. And so long ago I began saying we're all infants, and beginning to understand what baby steps, and even having said that, not being able to sit still and observe the baby steps taking place, to want to still be rushed. You should be walking by now. You should be doing that by now. That should be done by now. This should be in order by now. You should have been making blah, 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 blah by now. You stupid. You lazy. You do. And I'm observing all of this. And I'm observing now as a mother, as a cosmic mother, the child knows when it's ready. The child knows when it's ready to be born. The child knows when it's ready to walk. The child knows when it's ready to talk. The child knows when it's ready to be potty trained. Quit rushing it. You trying to control it. Some things are not in our control. Divine design has already set things in motion. And just like if you go and you see a caterpillar in a chrysalis and you see a butterfly trying to be born and you want to rip it open and help the butterfly, you killing the butterfly because it hasn't developed the stamina it needs to have with its wings. So you just killed it by your impatience, by your inability to just sit, let God do his work and observe. So the universe has been listening. After all, she is the best mama. And she provided a scholarship for me to become a certified life coach, 8-week program from a perspective that she wrote specifically for me. And here I am a couple of years later, still unable to take the test because of internal blockages of resistance that would require me to leave, abandon my old ways that I am currently outgrowing. It's like having a favorite pair of pajamas or nightgown that you have had forever. And it is the most familiar, the most comfortable outer layer that you can put on your own naked, most intimate self, and that you have learned to hide from outside observation, from being truly seen. And yet, it is shrinking. It no longer fits. It no longer is able to offer you the protection that it once did because it's all full of holes and disappearing and unthreading and unwinding. And you're so conflicted by this process of shedding skin, loyalties, comfort zones to cross over into the unknown. I hope that analogy did it for you, because it did it for me. It was like, whoa. And when you have your own, like I say, in that matrix system, when you have been programmed, part of your conditioning was to feel abandoned. Leaving change is a big deal for you. Okay, because there's always means you have to abandon in that fluidity of change. Something is going to be left behind. And so you don't want to leave anything. You don't want to let go of anything. And that's part of knowing yourself. But when you know already that you're everything and nothing, what more do you need to bring with you to the other side? Naked you came into this world, naked you're going to leave. Know thyself. And I can sit up here and say it like it's hard as hell. It's the obstacle course, beloveds. But it was designed for you, by an aspect of you, by a wise aspect of you that knows you better than you know yourself. And that's what it's trying to give you the opportunity to do. It's to know yourself. It's to evolve. It's to mature. It's to grow from one stage to another. It's to be reborn as many times as you need. There is no wrong way to be reborn. Okay? There is no specific timetable. There is no one. Nobody can judge you but God. Only God knows your heart. Only God sees into your design and see what stage in your rebirth that you are. Nobody else. So don't let what nobody else says or feel about your process become an obstacle for you. Because that's just one more thing your identity, your self-awareness has to struggle with. So once again, know thyself. Self-inquiry, who the hell art thou, is the only frequency and vibration that is pulsing through your circulatory system. So yes, to make a long story short, I am back in therapy to help me figure this shit out, because obviously I have several blind spots that I am missing. And I keep getting my car, Merkaba, into accidents or near crashes like I'm in the Indy 500 marathon of bumper cars going for the win. There I am at the carnival again, okay? Oh, I love it. I love it, beloveds. I love it. Can you imagine that? I want you to actually picture that for a moment, okay? The flags racing, and you see it's a big circular racing track, okay? Instead of racing cars, you in bumper cars, okay? And trying to get to a finish line. But you got to keep bumping into people and knocking them out the way to get to where you need to be. Because we always, like I said earlier in this, we always need a villain. We always need an obstacle to push ourselves. Because who's going to sit here and say, oh, this is where I go, this is what I do, this is how I be, okay. You wouldn't be on earth if it was, this is the hell region. This is the, matrix. This is the holographic deck where you do Jedi battle training, getting yourself ready for shit. Okay? So, understand what you're participating in and understand that you did so with a higher consciousness than the one you are able to observe at the moment. All right. So, as I shared in my previous video, the essence of forgiving comes in observing what your perpetrator left, deposited, impregnated inside of you to receive, transmit, transform, and transmute. The big word is forgive. For them is as an energy exchange. For your current existence lesson, we carry it as a burden or a curse most times as we take on the role of victim or survivor. So, beloveds, basically what this is saying is that before you can forgive, you have to observe existence from a sacred space, from a womb where you know that you are I am, that I am, that you are existence. That you are not the incarnated, born infant that everything is happening to. You're not Valerie. Valerie was raped. Valerie was this. Valerie, this happened to Valerie. That happened to Valerie. Valerie. Valerie takes everything personal. The world is doing this to Valerie. Valerie's mother did this to her. Other people did this to her. Valerie. You're observing all of this. The damn Valerie, a lot of stuff happened. Damn Valerie, damn Valerie. Gosh. And then but sit still and watch God do his work to Valerie. Sit still and watch God do his work to Valerie. But she was raped. But it looked like it hurt. But she cried. She God can't be doing that to Valerie. Why would God do that to Valerie? Like, God ain't done this. You don't see things the way God sees things. You don't observe. You observing from Valerie's point of view. If you observing from the view of the people that are doing it to Valerie, to them, Valerie must represent something that they got to do this to Valerie. So those are identities. So when you so caught up in those identities and all you see is identity, the world is going to be hell. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be full of shit, baby. It's going to be a show no shit storm. Because birthing ain't easy. Ask any woman you know that's been gave birth, that's been pregnant. Shit, even ask the ones that thought they was pregnant, what they... Sit still and let God do his work. When you identify, when you are able to be reborn, and you have made it through your hurdles, you've made it through that last trimester, and that cervix is softened up, and you're crowning. The head comes through, the shoulders come through, or you might be a breech baby, or you may have to get, the womb may have to be cut for you because you strangling yourself up in there. You done got so caught up in your personality. Emergency C-section. You are the one who has witnessed all of this. And you no longer see Valerie, that girl, that fat girl, whose mama name was Juanita, daddy name was Lonnie. You see existence existing. And everything around her is existence existing. In some aspect of existence, positive or negative. It's all working in divine order for the next rebirth, for the next rebirth. When you begin to look at things from this, when you begin to observe from this vantage point, that is what this whole video is about, accepting your divinity. Your existence. It don't get no more divine than that. Don't get no more divine than that. Seen or unseen, heard or unheard, form or formless. There is no superior and inferior in existence. Existence exists. All play their part. All are in a form of development, stages, seasons, cycles, aeons, ages, dimensions, destinies, karmic cycles. You don't know, so you can't judge. Allow yourself to just be still, and observe God doing His work. Turn that identity stuff off. Get that white noise and static out of your head. Get that little voice that's telling, well, you know you can do this. You in the house, you ain't outside, ain't none of that happening to you out there. Sit down. Be still. Well, what came up in my last therapy session, as I was given the homework assignment describing one of my defining moments, as I had done in the pregnancy and birth of my daughter at 18 years old the first time, I decided to do the pregnancy and birth of my son at age 26. The two very distinct relationships that I was in with two very different men, and my choices between them based upon my own dysfunctional idea of what love is, was, and had the potential to be. And this is a very big thing for me, beloveds. Like I said, in arriving today and having this aspect of me say, you know, you need to be going through this with a man. You know, this is how should be going. That is, once again, that personal identity trying to drive the car. But I'm looking at her and saying, yeah, I feel that. I can agree with that. But, you know, it'll happen when it's supposed to, because, you know, Valerie ain't too good with picking out and we're going to let mama drive this one, you know, and it's going to be so dead in my face till, you know, there is no, well, no. It's going to be, you know, just, really, Valerie? Really? What more? What more do you need? So, you know, we ask for certain things and we get them because it was designed that way. Okay, so that's the divine masculine and the divine feminine all coming together in all of this. Like I said, and me being in therapy in these defining moments, as you can see, it's all synchronistic with the timing, with the Aquarian age being fluid, being a refilling process. You think of a womb being filled. My own dysfunctional idea of what love is, was, and had the potential to be. During the story, I spoke of my ex's addiction to crack, how he would be out all times of the night deep in the streets and come home in the early morning hours wanting to make love to me, which would always end up in a knockdown, drag out, teeth bared, straight razor, butcher knife, guns red, ready to be drawn at the OK Corral type standoff. Because I've never been a punk. And when it comes to you, if it takes a, oh, no. And when it comes to you thinking that you have the right to. And when you are, I had been with this man for 8 years. He knew all my secrets. He knew all my insecurities, just like I knew his. And when you are in a dysfunctional relationship, those are the weapons and the tools that you're going to break a nigga down with. Excuse my French for using that N word, but it is what it is. Those are what you go for. And you cutthroat with it. You there to shut it down. Let me keep going. The things we would say to each other came from the secrets of our most hidden pain and suffering that we had so lovingly and intimately shared with each other, but were now weapons of mass destruction. Their only purpose, to fuck the other person up beyond recognition, to put them in their place of unworthiness to be loved, to be liked or even tolerated, and we were good at it. It was a game to us. It was gladiators coming out to amuse our inner demons. It was dirty. It was bloody. And it left many corpses in the arena. We would choose to unleash the worst beast in us against the one we love the most. Because this is how dysfunctional love works. It is in every story, narrative, movie, family, and friendship ever observed. Okay. Breathing, getting back to it. Sigh. As I said, I was in my late 20s. I had no idea why this man, who was the most tenderest soul in the world to me other than my father, my ex, his name was Michael. He would wash my hair. He would bathe me. He loved big girls. So I was straight up goddess to him. He worshipped and adored me. Okay? But when we fought, he came from dysfunction. He was dyslexic. You would never know it, but he was. Part of him resented my intelligence just as much as he admired me for it. And like I said, when we fought, it was something. It was War of the Worlds. But baby, when we made up, it was honeymoon, New Year's Eve, Carnival, first day of Christmas, you name it. It was, woo, it was love and loving from a dysfunctional point of view. It was the opposite of the dysfunction we had to give to each other. It was beautiful. It was spiritual. It was blissful. It was orgasmic. It was mesmerizing. Okay, breathing, getting back to it side. As I said, I was in my late 20s, and I had no idea why this man, who was the most tender soul in the world to me, other than my father, would come at me this way, demanding the one thing that was most precious to me to share with him: my body, my womb, my sexuality, my femininity, my motherhood. At the time, you know what happened to me. You gonna come up, and I'm telling you no, because you done been out in the streets, and I don't know what you've been doing and who you've been doing it with, and because you've been high, and here you come wanting to crawl up inside me. You crazy. Ain't happening, homie. It ain't happening. And like I said, it just dawned on me after all these years, because I never saw it from his perspective of why he wanted to come and get into bed with me after being out in the streets. He wanted validation. He wanted forgiveness. He wanted acceptance from the person that he loved the most. And I was rejecting him. And I was battling him. And I was judging him. Me, the dysfunctional one, the one who he held, the one whose hair he washed and whose body he washed, the one who he made love to intimately, slowly, patiently, the ones whose body he loved more than I did, telling him no, you can't have it. You cut off. You get none. Can't touch this. Like I said, it just dawned on me recently as my conscious awareness has matured, and as I less identify with my old identity of Valerie and the things that happened to her, and look at it from a standpoint of existence, existing, expanding, growing, shedding skin. It just dawned on me why, after this session with my therapist, I was stuck in my head and he was stuck in his. He knew he had gone out and done who knows what in his addiction, his self-hatred. And when he came back home to me, he needed me to welcome him, to say it was okay, to forgive him, to show him that I still loved him and that I would not leave him, that I did not hate him or think less of him, that I still loved him, that he was still worth me loving me intimately, wholly, holy, Holy, and Wholy. Excuse me. Okay, I lost my place. Okay, that he was still worthy of me loving him intimately, wholly, Wholy, spiritually, with all my being, holding nothing back away from him, the way I had always done. And yet, being met with my anger, my loathing, my mocking self-righteous judgment, and the denial of my body, which was his sacred space, which was his fortress of solitude, which was his motherland, which was his state of grace. which was his temple at which he worshiped and which he had helped build. All hell would come out of us. All of our demons would come out to play, to fight, to taunt, to make fun of, to roast, to cut, to make bleed, to make suffer. Why? Why do we do this to each other? Because hurt people. Okay? Dysfunction. Hurt people. When you observe that, you know that. That's why as you mature, you understand the child having a tantrum, throwing itself back, almost don't care if it get hurt or not. That's dysfunction. That's immaturity. That's self-identity. Not knowing that it's existence. Wanting what it wants. Narcissistically. And when you're caught up, I'm sorry, beloveds, here we go. And when you're caught up in that frequency, your conscious awareness is being held prisoner. Meaning your conscious awareness is not able to engage with you because you're caught in your identity. You ain't hearing nothing that spirit got to say. Your conscious awareness is, you're not even in that dimension anymore. You're not in that body. You're not in that state. You're in another state. You're in another dimension. You're in another body. You're in another awareness. An awareness of survival mode. Not I am existence. I am all and nothing. And so everything you do, everything you say, everything you feel, everything you know, everything you observe is coming from that perspective and that point of view only. And when you're caught up in that frequency, your conscious awareness is being held prisoner with blinders on, and you are unable to see through the murderous red spectrum and frequency of anger, hate, lust, and fear. Only your point of view matters. Point of view, knife, gun, arrow, the tip that will penetrate the heart of the observed problem from your mind's womb, chaotic, restrictive perspective. Point of view, knife, from your observation point. From your perspective, from your vantage point, from your feelings, from your thoughts, not the other person's, because you no longer care about them. All you care about in this moment is you. Lack of self-knowledge, meaning when all you care about is you, you don't understand that that's an aspect of you. That's another cog in the divine design that you're interacting with. None of that resonates. That at any point you can take this out of this frequency and raise it up into another frequency. Give birth to another dimension. Transport, transfer, transmute, receive, and do it all, baby. You got the vehicle, you got the vessel, rise above it, ride to the side, ride, like an unidentified flying object, you got the capabilities. You can go into warp speed. You can do it slow motion. You can back up, go forward, however you're going to do it. But you can change all of that from the place of spiritual observation to the place of conscious awareness, and bringing that conscious awareness into that situation and taking that identity out of it. letting Jesus take the wheel. Point of view. Okay, I did that. Lack of self-knowledge will keep you there in that womb, fed by the repeating chaos until you are able to observe, to shed your dysfunctional comfort zone by answering the call, who am I? I am existence, existing, not limited to this way or that way, but by what I create from my observation state of conscious awareness, which is as unlimited as my divinity itself. Now, when dysfunction presents itself to me in its many lifestyles, appearances, situations, circumstances, and personas, guises, be it political, religious, or on a conscious social perspective, as a test to impregnate me, burden me with a cross to carry for it, I lovingly decline. By denying access to my creative frequency. See, I'm not going to enforce that drama. I'm not going to add to it. I'm going to sit still and watch God do his work. You know you this and that and that and this and that. Yep. Well, you know so-and-so said this and that and that and that. Yep. Okay. Well, you know if you don't do this, that, and this and that gonna happen. Okay. All right. I'm not in that womb where all that chaos is. I'm in this temple right here. And if I don't leave this temple, if I stay right here and just observe all of that, can't touch me. But the moment, the second, the instant I get my fat ass up and go over there to look in and say, what's going on over here? What you mean? Blah, 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 blah. What? Well, I heard. Well, what happened was, it's the shit all over me. And now I'm outside of my temple and I'm caught up in hurricane, tornado, chaos. When I could have just been sitting there watching it from a place of divine awareness, my seat of the power. But I'm going to demote myself, take off my crown, and jump in the shit pod. With the rest of the babies who in there shitting on themselves and don't know no better. And just keep hollering because they all hot and stanky. And won't nobody come get them out. Conscious awareness. It's not judgment. It's discernment. It's not judgment. It's discernment. Only God can judge. And God ain't judging the babies, okay? He know they still babies. You still a baby. You still shitting on yourself, okay? When you ready to stop, you will. When you ready to stand up and walk out of the shit pit, you will. When you get tired of smelling yourself, you'll do something about that odor, that fragrance. It's all on you, boo. It's your choice. With unconditional love. Oh, okay. Now, when dysfunction presents itself to me in its many lifestyle appearances, situations, circumstances, and personas, guises, be it political, religious, or on a conscious social perspective, as a test to impregnate me, to burden me with a cross to carry for it, I lovingly decline by denying access to my creative frequency. My ability to manifest more bullshit, nah, that's okay. I got better things to do with my creative frequency than that. Okay, no thank you. I'm not contributing. I ain't giving my 2 cents to that. I'm keeping them. Let me break that down. 70 times 7, I forgive them. for not outgrowing the womb matrix conscious state of awareness that they are presently in, which means their obstacle course is kicking their ass. Okay? Don't judge them for that. Just because you made it through your first trimester, your first stage of your obstacle course, and you can look back at them and see them, observe them struggling going through theirs. You don't judge them. Well, damn, you should have went this way and you should have jugged right. I would have jugged left when you didn't see that? Damn, that big old hole in the street you ain't see. Don't judge. You're not in their shoes. You not their conscious awareness. You don't know, what they feel, what they see. You're not influenced by their hormonal alchemy. You know nothing other than they exist. That's it. With unconditional love, I thank them for being able to check my own status of conscious awareness. Spirit sharpens spirit, and their spirit is still, if their spirit is still demonic, which means lower dwelling frequencies reside there. I no longer have to condemn or fear or pronounce judgment on their lessons, their evolution, their conscious awareness level. We are diverse by the design of wisdom, each precious in our own purpose, existing as one. This brought me to mind the story of Jesus and Legion, for me from the Bible. It also brought the movie The Exorcist forward, when the girl child was possessed and the young priest was with her, and how the demon looked into the priest and read his innermost truths and tried to use them against him. How horrible the demon presented itself, vomiting, head rotating 360 degrees, the self-image of horror it chose to present, its combative nature, its unwillingness and fear of leaving the child's body and having nowhere to go. And whether or not you know it, beloveds, that was the scene of me and my ex. He was the demon. He was head rotating, got my head to rotating, voices coming out of me, voices coming out of him, and we still want to fuck and still want to kill each other and and when you and your mate or you and your partner or you and a friend is going through this, you just see them. I don't know what got into you. I don't know what happened. That wasn't you. Observe. Know what you're observing. Not everything takes on a hideous form. Know that from your fairy tales and your stories. Okay? Beauty and the Beast. It's about the heart. And understand that some things have to unravel the way they have to unravel. Some things have to hit a rock bottom before they're able to observe and see themselves and get their legs to stand back up. It's not on you to judge, but to discern, so that when you pick your mate or your friend or your whatever, you're not going over there inserting yourself or penetrating the demons, okay, that are still there and that are pulling you in. Come on, baby. Yeah, you know, mama got something for you. You want some candy? Nah, that's okay. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I see you. I see you. Okay? Yeah, I see you. So that's self-love by not going in over there thinking, oh, you have to save a hoe. Let me say you. I see this demon. Let me come on over here, and I'm gonna clean you up, and I'm gonna dress you up, and that's dysfunctional love, okay? And your creative frequency, you gonna make a whole hot mess out of all of that, okay? Why? Because you're getting in the shit pit with shit, and it's gonna get on you, and you're going to stink just like the rest of them, okay? So while you over there washing and scrubbing, you up to your elbows in it, okay? Again, beloveds, discernment is not judgment. Okay. How horrible the demon presented itself. And beloveds, that's just it. Sometimes it's not horrible. Sometimes you go to the club and it look good. It sound good. It's buying you drinks and woo, he telling you everything you ever wanted to hear, and oh my God, just the chemistry and cause demons they're and hey, just maybe he could be the one, maybe we'll just, could be, you know. He is kind of cute. Something there, something. Yeah, it's something all right. You just wait till that something come out for you. That something got something for you, okay? That something see your demons. That something like, yeah, me and that demon gonna play. We gonna get it on. We go woo. But your identity is like, you don't see my demons. I have no demons. What are you talking about? And it just gets crazy because you went on what your eyes could see and not your spiritual instincts or not your discernment when you, nah, something ain't right. No, I don't want to drink. No, you can't do that. No, I don't want to dance with you. No. Oh, you think, yeah. Yep, gone. Bye. Discernment, not judgment. How horrible the demon presented itself, vomiting, head rotating 360 degrees, the self-image of horror it chose to present, the combative nature, its unwillingness and fear of leaving the child's body and having nowhere to go. And as I was talking with a friend that I spoke of in the beginning of this video, a friend had called me and kind of stopped me from doing this video when I was going to. And I'm glad that he did. And I told him, no, the universe probably had something else for me to add to this, and that's why it stopped. So don't worry about it. And sure enough, but getting back to the point, as I was telling this to my friend, again, it brung out to me, and I said this in what I read. This was the case of Jesus encountering the man who had incarnated and who had a body and who had an identity, but whose temple was so filled, his mind, his body, his thoughts, everything was so filled with so many demons that everyone that saw him gave him the name Legion because he had so many demons. And he was so vicious. And he was so fearful. Okay? But yet, here come Jesus stepping on and the thing dropped to his, please don't hurt us. Don't, what do we got to do with you? What you come here for? What just give us something to go into, because they have to have something to go into. Sacred space is sacred space. Energy has to have something, okay? And so it went into Legion. All these demons went into the pigs, and it was so many and so chaotic, it drove the pigs crazy because the pig's mind couldn't even handle, okay? But this one man could hold all these demons. You think about that. Think about observing something like that. Think about seeing Jesus, who had conscious awareness of who he was. That's the only thing he had besides those others. He accepted his divinity. He knew who he was. When you see the Father, you see me. No doubt, no question mark, no. Well, I'm Jesus today, but I'll be Emmanuel and somebody else tomorrow. And well, I'm shy right now, but you know, when you know who you are, you don't have those levels. That's it. But it's a graduating stage to get there and to hold on to it. And just as the Bible shows you, there are tests. Even Jesus, who knew who he was and walked on water and raised people from the dead, was tested. And he was tested so deep, he said, Father, if it is in your will, let this cup pass from me. Let this is bitter. This is, I don't know. I know what I got to do, and I know I can do it, but this right here, just the thought of just carrying this, whoo, if it's your will, I'll go through with it. But if it's in your will that I don't have to go through this, Father God, please. But then, now this is what you got to go through. Not for you, but for those coming up behind you. For those that don't know what they're doing. So when Jesus was on that cross saying, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Forgiveness times 70 times 7. He saw them still as babies, still in their shit. But he also knew that there was demons down in there with them, influencing them. So they wasn't just of their own. This is why you don't judge. Because you never know where a person is on their journey, and you never know what they're battling with within them. Just because you don't see it. Just because you don't hear it. Just because you don't feel it. Okay? And I learned this so deeply observing my mother and looking back, being able to look back now from a place of conscious awareness and not Valerie's identity, who was abused by her mother, but as existence existing. It is so deep, beloveds. It is so deep. It is so deep. And like I said, when you get to the place where you are aware of truly of what forgiveness is, what that word means, for bodies, give back. I give back healing to you. I offer my humbleness to you. I offer my existence to you to raise you up. I take your cross. Let me hold it. I walk with you. That's what you pray for. But you can't give it. Universal laws say you give what you get. You get what you give. It was an ancient frequency, vibration, spectrum of collective energy. This is speaking of what Legion was, what all those demons was. I'm going to say it again, an ancient frequency. What's a demon? An ancient frequency, vibration, spectrum of collective energy. Still stuck in a loop of fear, hatred, distrust, lust, pain, and suffering that it wanted to vomit, project upon any and everything in its path. And you have to understand that. That's why certain places have certain energies, because that energy vibration is trapped there. That energy frequency still dwells there. And if you go through that existence, that presence, you feel it. Some people are more sensitive than others. Some offer place for that, some of that essence, that energy to house themselves in. So you have to be careful, beloveds, and you're being careful by being consciously aware. Don't mean be afraid. It just means be consciously aware, accept your divinity. You know who you are. These things can't fool you into being a victim. They can't fool you into letting them come and stay in you. Or you taking on that energy because you feel you're less than, or that you're powerless, or you're helpless. You're a child of God. Your existence existed. You have full potential of infinite possibilities, which are miracles at your fingertips at any given moment, at your breath, at any given moment, in your thoughts, in your heart, in your conscious awareness, if you're able to give birth to it. Know thyself. Quit rejecting yourself. And quit procrastinating and doing it. That's my thing. But then again, like I said, baby steps. Because I couldn't be pushed through this process. I couldn't be rushed through this process. It's my process. I got to step on each tack, each hot coal. I got to touch the stove. I got to burn my mouth with the coal. I got to do all of it. I got to go through it. I got to expel the demons out of me. I got to observe. I got to go through all of this. I got to say, no, that's not my fear. And I reject it. Get out of me. Dark nights of the soul, where you're wrestling with this stuff. And it's got you. And it's draining you. You look in the mirror. Until you've had enough. And say, wait, what? I ain't got to go through it. And then that, like, oh shit. Oh, she found out. Oh. Know thyself. Okay, I'm gonna get through this video in a minute, y'all. It was an ancient frequency, vibration spectrum of collective energy, still stuck in a loop of fear, hatred, distrust, lust, pain, and suffering that it wanted to vomit, project upon any and everything in its path, like a child having a narcissistic temper tantrum or a medical condition that causes an uncontrollable, spasmodic projecting existence of body fluids that has to be cleaned up and constantly by a caretaker or caretakers. It is not from a stance of being superior. It is from the unconditional love of observation of the individual and the collective, the wisdom of the universal laws, and true oneness. The wise parent does not look upon his child with loathing because it soils itself with biological fluids. Why? Because it has observed the natural order of all things and knows that this is just one stage, phase, age, time, season, epoch of many yet to come, to be born, to be reborn by, accepting your divinity by the power of observation. And even if that child is handicapped or disabled, the parent still loves that child enough to either put it in the care of someone who can take care of it, or understand that they are now the caretakers of this child. And they devote themselves to that existence, because it is existence. And it is part of their existence. They don't deny it. They don't hate it. They don't resent it. They protect and defend it. It's mine. It's me. It might can't do this, that, and the other, but it's mine. That's accepting your own divinity by the power of observation. In conclusion, to quote Little Kim, I got no time for fake ones. Meaning, I ain't got no time in my conscious awareness to dedicate my allegiance to fake gods, artificial inseminators of logic, that lack wisdom of common sense, coming from my own powers of manifestation as a divine being, truly observing and discerning the fruits of good and evil, no matter the cunning guise of the snake or the mirror it chooses for me to look, gaze spellbound into the falsely illuminated illusion of existence that it gave birth to as a womb for me to outgrow and begin a new existence as a new being. Gives a whole, WHOLE/holy, HOLY, new meaning to how to pimp a butterfly. Beloveds, like I said, this was so beautiful to me. And I want you to understand you got no time for fake ones. It's not about judgment. It's about discernment. It's about being able to discern between the truth and the lie. It's about being able to discern what's false, what's fake news, and what's not. It's what's false religion and what's not. What's false politicking and governments and what's not. About what's a false relationship and what's not. About someone who speaks to you with a forked tongue. Go any kind of way. Well, what do that mean? What you mean? Make it plain. Speak plain. They can't do it because they're speaking with a forked tongue. That means they telling, oh, I'm telling little white lies. Just a little white lie. Still a lie. Well, I love you in my own way. Love is love. It's unconditional. What you talking about? Being discerning is not judging. Discerning a spirit and saying no thank you to that spirit. You understand what you're doing. That you've done that from what you've observed, from a conclusion that you finally came to, from the obstacle course that you overcame, from putting in the work. You are able to discern whether you want your creative frequency to go in this to expand its conscious awareness or your conscious awareness, or whether you're just going to be okay sitting it out over here and letting Jesus take the wheel over there and understand Jesus will straighten it out. That ain't mine to fix. That ain't mine to do. I unconditional love, baby, I see you. And I only wish you the best. But I carried your cross as long as I'm going to carry it, whether you recognize that's what I was doing or not. It's not judgment. And you need to observe yourself enough. Observe your own existence enough to know when you are in the frequency of judging someone or some circumstance, or when you are in the role of discerning. And discernment, its conclusion is I don't want to say judgment, but its conclusion is always going to be a state of existence, a frequency of existence. Whether that's high or low, it's going to be determined by what you're able to discern. So that's that. And learn to use your words, beloveds. Use them with yourself. Sit down when you're observing chaos and have a conversation with yourself about what you're truly encountering, what you're truly witnessing, why you're bearing witness to it, what relevance does it have to you as an individual or as part of a collective. And that is going to do it, beloveds. Again, like I said, this Lion's Gate, this August 8th frequency today is very powerful. Very, very powerful. And it has awakened a lot within me that has been dormant, that has been silent, that has been observing. Okay? And now it's come forward. I've gone through the gate where I can see it, through the veil where I can receive what it has observed. And it's a handoff. It's that marathon. It's the baton. Here you go. You made it through the obstacle course. Here you go. Good luck on the next portion. Good luck on your next rebirth. Bless you. This your heads up. Here you go. This your certificate. This your diploma. Here you go. Cherish it. Because it is a blessing that you earned from the process of expanding your own conscious awareness and knowing yourself as a divine being, beloved, and not separate, but one, whole and holy, not fragmented, not in pieces, not broken. You are gathering and putting together all your pieces. So that is going to do it. I hope I presented everything. Okay, I'm not supposed to. I gave, beloveds, and it is what it is, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Namaste, beloveds. I love us all. I love us all, no matter of what process you're in, no matter what obstacle course you've got going for yourself. I send you love and I send you light. Unconditional. Unconditional. And the greatest gift I can give you in this Lion's Gate portal is forgiveness for yourself. And you pay that forgiveness forward by understanding how existence exists, how the stages, the cycles, the seasons, the storms, the chaos, the tearing down, the destruction in order to rebuild, how your cells in your body die only to be reborn, renewed. Nature is natural. It is not separate. We are all one in this. It is only the conscious awareness that divides us, that separates us. And even that must be accepted as part of the plan, as part of the whole, as wisdom itself. Namaste, brother.